Not all lead generation campaigns were created equal. They do not all have the same level of difficulty. Leads do not have the same value. There's a world of difference, particularly when it comes to outbound prospecting. So cold emails and cold LinkedIn messages. There's a world of difference in lead values and difficulties. So let me explain a little bit. First off, why outbound in the first place? Well, here's the thing. You can get far better quality leads through outbound for B2B companies than you can through a lot of other mechanisms in many cases. Okay. I'll give you an example just for us. Right. We target companies that are generally doing at least $200,000 a year. They have a consultative sales process. And then based on what their offer and their targeting is, we either accept them as a client or we do not. But by the time they end up on our doorstep, usually they're pretty turned off of the whole thing, right? They're pretty cynical. They're sometimes even jaded because they have been promised the sun, moon, and stars, and company after company has not delivered for them. And in addition to that, has never set proper expectations or explained the difficulty of their particular campaign, because there's a wide spectrum here. It is not like, we can generate leads for you. Like, there's a world of difference between, hey, I'm going to target self-employed realtors versus I'm going to target the C-suite executives at Fortune 500 companies. And a lot of the campaigns that we actually take on are campaigns that other companies aren't capable of even doing. They don't have the experience. They don't have the level of expertise. They just can't do it because it's that hard, right? To give you some of those factors that go into what makes a campaign more difficult and increases the lead values and things like that. Well, one of them I already mentioned, which is the size of the organization. Generally speaking, it's harder to generate a lead if you're targeting a larger company than a smaller one. Makes sense, right? And I'm speaking in generalities here. I'm sure we could find anomalies, whatever. Next is pecking order. It's harder to generate a lead from a CEO than a executive assistant or a customer service agent. But nobody ever wants us to target them anyways. They always want us to target decision makers or heads of departments, depending on the size of the company, right? But again, then we have the size of the organization comes into play. It's a lot easier to target a CEO at a 5-person company than it is to target the CEO of Google. What else do we have, right? Certain industries are more difficult to generate leads from, right? Like in offers as well. There's different offers that make a world of difference in terms of how you can actually effectively generate leads. There's all sorts of factors that come into someone's particular LinkedIn profile. Okay, like if someone has 5,000 first level connections when we're starting a lead gen campaign with them versus if they have, let's say, 50, well, guess what? When you create searches in Sales Navigator or in their regular tool, you're going to get a lot less search results back, i.e. volume of people that could possibly fit the targeting if they only have 50 first level connections. There's all these factors that go into this, right? And so oftentimes what happens is they've gone through 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or innumerable number of companies that were promising to just flood their calendar and never set proper expectations, never explain to them exactly how things work on the front end. And then they have a sour experience and they start grouping us all together and we're all just the same to them. And it just honestly dirties up the marketplace and it makes it harder for the actual good companies who know what they're doing. So what's the moral of the story here? First, stop over-promising to clients if you don't understand their niche because you're doing everybody a disservice, even yourself. They're not going to be happy. They're going to be, having complaints with you and so on and so forth. What else? Yeah, to those who, are considering lead generation companies in the first place, like, look, if you've tried 4 or 5 other things and every single time you're not getting, your calendar packed, there's probably a reason for that. It's probably very difficult to generate leads in your space, and no one's ever explained that to you, and why that is, and what your proper expectations should be, right? Or the fact that maybe, because we have some clients, like just to give you an example, who if they get 3 leads a quarter, they're super excited because their deal sizes are so large and their client lifetime values are so high, and it's so difficult to generate leads in their space that if they can get like 3 and a quarter, 3 in 3 months, 1 a month, they're ecstatic because they know how hard it is, and they know if they can get 12 a year, they're going to close at least 1 or 2 of those, and it's massively profitable for them. And they're comfortable with that because we tell them on the front end what to expect, why it's going to be difficult. We're very clear about that. But, and here's the big damaging admission, how do I know this? Because we made the same mistake in the past too, right? We would take on clients. We wouldn't really, explain as well as we do today, like why they've struggled so much to generate leads, and that not all lead generation companies are bad. We're not a lead generation company, by the way. We're a growth consultancy that offers done-for-you marketing services. But, no one's ever explained to them. We made the same mistake in the past, and it's bad for everybody. So hopefully you get some value out of this, and that you're having a great week so far.